Well, good Saturday morning to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of the Pearls of Wisdom podcast, brought to you by Pearls of Great Price Empowerment Services. And our mandate is to empower, enlighten, and educate women of faith as we speak about everything faith, everything leadership, because we know that we want you living the more abundant life as God intended. I am so excited to be back into your space to have another conversation with you as we continue our Finish Strong series. Yes, we started and we launched our Finish Strong series the last time I was here, and we are going with this until the end of 2021. We are encouraging you. Hey, it's the final quarter. Anything could happen. And so we're here to encourage you to do just that. Finish strong. So today I'm so excited. I have an exciting guest, a new sister of mine, and we are here to speak about a topic of relevance: walking in your purpose. And so if you have to finish strong, you need to understand your purpose and how to walk in it. So before I bring my guest in, you know what I like to tell you: call a sister, call a friend, call your auntie, call your grandmother. Just call as many women as you can. Tell them the Pearls of Wisdom podcast is on. Giselle is on, and you don't want to miss it. Share this live. Start a watch party. Let's get the message out. Today we're talking about purpose. And if perchance you are new to the podcast and you're new to me, I am Giselle Alain Clement, and I am your host, and I'm so glad that you are here with us today. Tell us hello in the comments. We want to engage, we want to chat, we want to hear your voice. So go ahead and tell us hello. Just a reminder, I am using StreamYard, so go ahead and give StreamYard permission to use your name. We want to see who's in the audience today and call you out by name. So without further ado, we want to give a warm Trinidad and Tobago welcome to my guest. Oh my goodness, such a beautiful young lady. Let's welcome Miracle Sims to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast. Hi, Miracle.
Hello, Miss Giselle. How are you?
I am awesome. I am awesome. Miracle, I'm going to share some of our secrets. I remember when I saw your name, I was like, wow, her name is Miracle. Wow, what a name. There is so much power in that name. And she is, and just after the first few words together, I see why you have that name. So it's
Oh, man.
so awesome to have you here. Ooh.
Man, I'm honored to be here, in Trinidad
Yeah,
and Tobago
that's
virtually.
right.
Can't wait to come one day for real. And hey, look, all honor to God and my mom for that name. She
Mm,
named me actually. I'm sure you know because you're my Facebook friend, right? So
yes.
you've seen a much longer name than Miracle.
Yes.
So my full name is Miraculous,
Miraculous. Yes,
actually.
I saw that. Yes.
But I just go by Miracle to keep it simple.
Yes.
But not only that, I mean, I've only been called Miracle my whole life. So it's weird when people call me Miraculous because it's like,
Yes. Ooh. Awesome.
no one calls me that.
Oh, wow. So tell us a bit more about Miracle. Who is Miracle Sims?
Yes, well, Miracle Sims now, I'm an actress, I'm an entrepreneur, and now I'm an author. I became an author this year and everything like that. And so I also host this talk show and podcast that's called God, Sex, and Love, which of
Mm.
course Miss Giselle is going to be on real soon. So I'm definitely
Yes.
excited about that. And yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just somebody that, I was raised in a small town of Jackson, Georgia, and just a small town girl with big dreams. Y'all know that story. But
Yes.
I guess I focused on, acting and performing and whatnot, and I went to school for that. And got a chance to do a lot of great things with it. But I would say that over the years, there was still something missing. And eventually in my adult years and whatnot, that's when I started to cultivate my own relationship with God.
Yes.
Because I was raised by a evangelist and everything like that, so obviously I've been taught.
Yes.
But of course you have to build your own faith, right? You have to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, as they say. And so I would say in my 20s, I kind of went through my journey to build that myself and everything like that. And I think the more I did that, the more I started to see uh, or get a good idea of my purpose, right? And sometimes I'm still figuring it out. Sometimes I'm still kind of wondering, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right move? But um, I will say now, especially since 2020, I would say that I really feel as if I'm walking in my purpose. I don't necessarily feel like I'm missing anything anymore. Like when it came to other career goals and things like that. Um, I feel like the things I'm doing right now are the things that have been on my heart and mind to do, as well as
Yes.
maybe what I was, made to do. So, yeah, that's a little bit. I hope I gave enough. I mean, I'm sure there's
You
much more
did.
to say.
Awesome. And we'll hear all today. You said something so key, and I wrote it down. You said you have to work out your own salvation. And
I
then
did.
even in that introduction, I heard some key points in
Wow.
your journey
Hmm.
of purpose and walking in your purpose. So could you stay there a bit and give us an idea of some of those junctures? I would like to describe it that, okay, it was a purpose point for you where you said, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm working this thing out. But this happened and Y happened and X happened. And it was as
Hmm.
if it was like, okay, key points in your journey. Could you give us a greater sense of what were some of those key points for you as you worked out your salvation?
Yes, yes. Okay, well, so as a Christian woman, and especially as a young Christian woman at the time, I mean, I guess I still am, but what I'm saying is, like I said, in my 20s, I feel like that's when I really, really started to kind of really focus on building my own relationship with
Yes.
God. And at that time, y'all see that my show is called God, Sex, and Love, right? And so these
Yes.
are things that I was thinking about all the time as a single woman. The only thing that's missing off of that list is career. So I was always thinking about God, sex, love, career. For me, God, the sex and love thing was tied together. So it was
Yes.
like, so that's why I say it that way. But I was always thinking about those things constantly. Like if my mind wasn't on just trying to relax and things like that, I was always thinking about, building my relationship with God or where I was with it. I was always thinking about, where I am in my career and what I wanted to do, and
Yes.
then also thinking about like love, marriage, and all those different things.
Yes.
And so at the time, I think what I feel happened is God used those things to draw me back to Him, right? Because as I was trying to date and trying to figure all of that out and how to balance all of that as a Christian woman, knowing like, okay, I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that, but I feel like this and I feel like that and all these different things. Basically, I, he took me through what I now call the cultivation period, which is my book that I just published this year. But it was crazy because I was kind of writing this at the time, just pretty much taking notes on things that I was learning along the way to prepare for marriage and to prepare for the things that I desired and whatnot. And during that time, one of the biggest things I did was to ask myself, okay, why am I here in this place? Why the things that I was doing at the time, doing things I shouldn't have been doing, or trying to find loopholes in the word
Yes.
to be like, well,
You
it didn't
know.
say this particularly, so I
Yes.
might be able
Yes.
to still do it. Nah, and things like that. So going through that or whatever, eventually I asked myself, like, why am I doing this? Why am I like this? Like, what got me here to this point where I'm looking at dating this way, or I'm looking at Then I'll be honest, I was kind of fooling around and whatnot. But then I'm like, well, I'm not having sex though. I'm just,
Yes.
I'm
I'm
doing other
just,
stuff,
yes, yeah,
you know.
yes.
So I mean, but that was me, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that we try
Hmm.
to find loopholes. We try to find that thing where we're like, oh, we're not doing the thing that it said don't do.
Yes.
so so again, I feel like God used those things to, as I asked myself those questions and as I really thought about it and reflecting on those things, and again
Hmm.
my relationship with God, I feel like he used those things to bring me back to him. Like he
Okay.
used like certain like men that I came across at that time to
Hmm.
kind of point me in the direction, because I might be liking them, but then they're pointing me to God, and I'm over here like, huh, like wait a minute, I thought we were, trying to get
Yes.
something together here, and whatnot. And so different things like that would happen to the point where it really made me question, my mindset. And I feel like, now this is just me, and I know we're gonna probably talk to single ladies later,
Hmm.
but I feel like that's when, or not just single, I just won't even say just women. I would say everybody probably struggle with this to a certain extent. A lot of times we don't look at ourselves, right? We want to just
Yes.
blame God, we want to blame other people for our issues. But it's like, for me, what I did at that time was I took a good look at myself. I looked at myself in the mirror pretty much, which I feel like that's what the Bible does. It's
Hmm.
like a mirror. It's like, hey, so I took a good look at myself and was like, okay, I need to make some changes here. Like I'm not doing things according to what I want and nor according to the Bible. And so if I want the things I want, the Bible here says, hey, uh, if you basically make God, well, I'm a pastor at that time. I was at his church or whatever, and this quote just stays with me throughout my life. He said that basically, if you make God's wants your wants, then you're gonna get what you want. And
Wow.
so but that was one of those things where I was like, I was like, all right, and I'm gonna try you then. Okay, I'm gonna try to make these changes. I'm gonna try to do the things you want me to do. What you want me to do? And so that's what I did at that time. And
Hmm.
I mean, over 10 years later, not only am I here with the published book, but like sitting in the midst of all the things that I was praying for at the time, sitting in the midst of, I am married, I have a son now, and all these different things. And I look at them and I can look at all of these things and say, wow, look at what God did. Because I remember when, I remember
Yes.
when. So girl, I can go on and on about this. I don't know if you
Wow, wow, wow. Miracle.
want me to
In in
stop.
in, in that no, I don't want you to stop. Don't stop, don't stop. This is good. This is good. Let me just recap. If you are just joining us, good morning and welcome. Let me say good morning to some folks I see here. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Joanna. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Ayana. Another Ayana. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Share the live. Call another friend. We're talking today about walking in your purpose. My guest is Miracle Sims, and she is just giving us her journey and how she understood walking in purpose. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today. Miracle, I want to ask, I don't know if your early days in church were like mine, but when they spoke about purpose, you have to find your purpose and walk in it. It's like, this thing is sounding so heavy, and it's as almost a fear would come upon
Mhm.
you. Did you have that experience? Did the word purpose, and as you were just describing your journey, and as you came to understand it, did you experience any fear about purpose, and can I really handle this? Do I really want to engage with this thing called purpose?
I don't know if I necessarily had a fear of purpose. I don't know if I paid attention much, right? I don't
Okay.
know if I realized, like, I knew I had goals, I had dreams, I had things that I wanted to do, but I
Yes.
don't know if I looked at those things as being my purpose until, getting older and
Okay.
and I guess walking it, like even now.
Yes. Yes.
Because again, I just kind of focused. I maybe I made those things career goals, right? So that's why I
Yes.
said I was focusing on career and what I want to do and da 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 da. And I think I was thinking more so about that. But then even and this is a conversation that I feel like is going to stand with me forever as well. Like since starting my journey or starting my show,
Yes.
there was one of my guests that came, and she pretty much she wrote a whole book about this. Now I wish I had the name of it off the top of my tongue, but I don't. But she wrote a book about basically that like our God-given talents and gifts should be our job.
Okay.
And so, and I think that's what it is. It's like I think our purpose is our whatever we're gifted, like our giftings, those things that God put in us. So if they're on our hearts and minds, that these are things that we not only can do, but how can I say, these are things that we aspire to do, and we think about them like they might be so big. But I think if we're thinking about them, then that means that it's possible for us. This is what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Now, depending on what, obviously, the things that God, for God, we talking about things for God, not just things that we just randomly
not any
think about.
random thing.
Not every impulse. No, I'm not saying
I
that.
understand.
I'm not saying that. But those godly, desires, those things that He wants you to do. That's what I mean.
Awesome.
So yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I was afraid. I think for me, when it came to my goals and things that I aspire, I always was like, well, my mom, right? She always encouraged me to go for my goals, and she's like, reach for the stars when you get there, reach for the moon, and all these different things. And it's sort of crazy now because she'll be saying things like, you're something else. You really go for this and you go for that. And I'm like, well, Mom, you told me to reach for the stars. Like, what you expect me to do?
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's so. I guess that gave me no fear in that aspect. I just was like, okay, I believe I can do these things too. Like I see people doing X, Y, and Z, so why can't I do X, Y, and Z? So I think that's the way I looked at it.
That's the approach you looked at it. I hear you. And you said something so profound, because some people, when you speak to them, I don't know what my purpose is, and I can't find it. I don't know how to find it. And you already started to give us some techniques and some tips. The thing that is on your heart all the time, you want to do this. You have a love for children. You have a love to feed the poor. You have a love to speak to women. Something, and you can't shake it. And you're like, nah. But then it's still there. That's a good step in the right direction. Tap into that and see where God is leading you. It may not be the end, but it's a good place to start. So today we're demystifying this thing called purpose. It's nothing big and mystical. No. God has designed you for something, and He wants you in this season. If you are to finish strong, you need to understand it, you need to find it, and ultimately walking in it. Miracle is here talking to us, sharing her experiences, and we are so glad that she is doing that. Miracle, fast forwarding, have you always stayed true to your purpose?
I mean, I would say no, right? I would say no, because if, say, for example, we talk about this thing about the dating aspect. So if my purpose is to be a wife, right? Then why am I fooling around?
Yes.
Right? You're not supposed to be fooling around in marriage, right? So why are you fooling around? Like, that's one of the, I guess, most practical ways that I can explain that. But even with careers or whatever the thing is, and this is, all right, Lord, speak to me again then. Basically, the reason I'm laughing is because for me, when I looked at jobs and careers, right, I told you all I was into acting and whatnot. So I always look for jobs and things that centered around performing and acting. Now, it didn't have to be, now, obviously, as an actor, you aspire for the movies and the talk, the shows and, all these things that you see on TV. But at the same time, for me, I think I focus more so on performing. So I was okay with working at Walt Disney World, or I was okay with doing children's shows for a company and things like that. Because for me, it's performing. I love to perform, So, but again, like if I have this desire to perform, if I've been to school for performing and all these different things, but I'm going to go and I mean, nothing against any other job, but if I'm going to go do any other thing, right, that I understand you got to do things to survive. And I understand that. I get that. But my whole thing is, why can't we open our minds to understand that, hey, I can do the things that I desire to do for jobs. You know what I'm saying? I can do this for funds. Like I was telling someone, and I think I mentioned to you that I shared with someone before, like they were talking about how they were into fashion and everything and how they kind of felt discouraged about it. But I'm like, well, hey, at the end of the day, don't we all wear clothes? So somehow, somewhere, somebody is seceding from fashion.
Yes.
So why can't you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
get your fashions together, and however you want to promote them and sell them or whatever the case is, do what it is that you feel led to do.
Yes.
Because again, all of these things are things that I just think that sometimes we just get in the routine of being like, oh, well, I'm just going to go get a job and I'm not going to focus on my goal, or I don't want to, I'll put that to the side.
Mm,
And it's like, but you can, I mean, there's lots of ways to make money. Like, just
mm,
make money the way that I mean, I can say I have. That's what I've done. I've stepped out on faith and was like, you know what? When I look for jobs, I look for jobs centered around performing, or I look for jobs
yes.
centered around what it is that I'm trying to do, or that,
Yes.
you know, that I feel like I've been gifted to do. And so I feel like if we all did that, right, then maybe we wouldn't be discouraged in our jobs. Maybe we wouldn't be hating our jobs or and all
Yes.
that stuff. So, I mean, I
Yes.
don't know. Maybe I'm just in la la land about it, but
No, no, I
that's what I've done.
understand. And that leads me
Yeah.
back to my fear question. A part of the fear, at least I believe, is that we are so narrow minded in our interpretation of purpose that if
Mm.
we get an out of the box idea, we're saying, no, that couldn't be God. No, 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 no. I'll
That's what we
just
do.
stick with the mundane, with the
Mm-hmm.
routine, nine to
Mm-hmm.
five, that's it. Forget that
Right.
idea. But
Mm-hmm.
God could give you an idea. That's all it is, and that's the seed,
Yes.
and you run with it. Yeah?
Yes.
Even if you
Yes.
have to, in the meantime, because we have to exist and manage ourselves accordingly, the
Right.
nine
Right.
to five. But the
Mm-hmm.
point is that idea could explode. But if you don't embrace it because you lack clarity, or you're thinking this couldn't be, or just
Mm-hmm.
you're so afraid and not willing to try, or you're willing to settle, as you're saying, for the nine to five, then we
Mm-hmm.
live our lives just substandard. And I want this discussion today to get across to the listeners that
Yeah.
we don't have to settle for substandard existence. If you're taking notes, write that down.
Yes.
I will not settle for substandard existence. And that is
Mm.
what purpose is. God
Yes.
calling us from a
Mm.
substandard existence. And so I understand what you're saying. And you're
Yeah.
not in la la land. It's because you feel this thing. Yeah, there has to be something more. Woo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed me to be able to perform for a living. I can literally say, okay, I perform for a living. Majority of the jobs on my work resume are centered around entertainment in some aspect, or
Yes.
performing in some aspect, or whatever other ideas or gifts or whatever that I have as well. But majority, it's not. I don't think there's anything that I've done that is like, oh, it didn't center around performing in some aspect. And
Yes.
so that's what I'm saying. And how did I find these jobs? Just the same way these other, you can go on the job websites and I can look up acting jobs or whatever it is, the same way I look up some other job. So
Yes.
why not? Why not? And
Why not?
even as
Yes.
you were talking as well, like there's some, well, first of all, I just love hearing you talk anyway. So I just love hearing you talk.
Oh gosh.
Um, so much wisdom just pours from this lady. Um, but yeah, just so many things that you said just resonated with me as well. And again, I do hope that people are taking those notes and
Yeah, why
understanding that,
not?
again, the things that God put on our heart to do, or if you constantly think about it, or like you said, if it doesn't leave your mind, then that's probably what you're supposed to do. Because again, and I'm here as living proof, y'all.
Living
Okay, I'm not
proof.
trying to
Yes.
just plug GSL, but the reason I'm talking about God, Sex, and Love so much is because like it had been on my heart and mind for years. Like again, I want to say back in the day, back in my 20s, back that during my cultivation period,
Yes.
um, the beginning stages of GSL was kind of happening, right? I was getting on YouTube. I was just talking about my experiences as a Christian single woman and all these different things. And so I would say that was the beginning stages of GSL, right? And
Yes.
so it came into my heart and mind. I was like, why can't Christians just get together and have conversations, just be open and honest, transparent, like stop playing around or acting as if we're perfect. We're not perfect. You know what I mean? Let's just be human and have conversations. And so that was kind of like my idea for GSL. I just was like, I want to create a show or something like that where people can feel comfortable to just be transparent and open and honest about even the ups and downs and everything. right? And so that was kind of like, again, the beginning stages. So I would, work on those things throughout the rest, since then and now. I would kind of work on different things. I had a bigger vision in my mind. I was like, it's going to be a talk show. I might have an audience and all these different things, right?
Yes.
But and so I would kept trying to work towards that and work towards that. Now 2020 happened, and I was right, getting ready to start doing it in that aspect, the way that I thought that I was going to do it. And then, of course, y'all know what happened in 2020. I ain't got to sit here and tell y'all know what's going on. So here I was at home, and I was thinking, like, well, one day I did about someone. Girl, I feel like you don't know, so I got to keep telling you this. I don't know if I've told you this already. But basically, long story short, in 2019, I was going through some other stuff with my business, my entertainment business that I have. And so I was trying to get a venue and all this stuff, because of course I'm going to use the venue for my shows, but I'm going to also use the venue for GSL, So anyway, I was going through a lot of different things at that time. And I was talking to my husband about GSL, and I was like, I might just make it a blog instead and do it. But instead of making a show, I might just make it a blog. And he just was like, oh, you should make it a podcast. And I just was like, oh, you always do this to me. You keep telling me more things to do. Like, you keep bringing more on my plate. I just said I'm making a blog, and then you're talking about podcasts, So I kind of brushed that idea off at the time. Yes. But then here I am in 2020. If I fast forward, I'm in 2020, and the subject came up again, and I was like, looking in ways to make it happen. So I did. And I saw that it was as easy as me just downloading the app. So I was like, okay, well, why not? I already got the logo. I already got everything in place anyway. I was getting ready to do it anyway. I just was going to do it as a show. I just started as a podcast. Since then, not only did I start it as a podcast and do daily inspiration, but then that pretty much, it was like a domino effect. Everything just kind of kept happening. Next thing I know, doors open for me to start the talk show version. And start doing like a weekly talk show version with videos. Then since then, now I go live and record in the mornings when I do what I call the juice, which is my daily inspiration. As you all can see, from there, all these books happen. You know what I'm saying? Like the first one was the Bible study journal, which I call again the juice, based on what? The podcast, based on what? GSL, the vision that was given to me all those years ago. You see what I'm saying? And so it was like, these are the things that, I want to say spearheaded it, but I want to say stepping out on faith and making the first move led to all of the rest of the stuff, And so I think that's what it's like. I think that's what it boils down to. Once you make the first move, you're going to see God open up doors. You're going to see other things happening from making that first step. And so don't be scared. Don't be scared to make the step.
Awesome. I think this is a good point to go on our commercial break and get a word from our sponsors. But Miracle, I'm taking so much notes. If you are listening and you're like me, you should have a lot of notes. We're talking today about walking in your purpose. And Miracle is giving us so much, gems about her experience and her journey. I'm gathering that, once you make the first step, and we're getting some techniques already. Is it on your heart? Has it been on your heart? And you can't shake this thought. That's probably an indicator that this is part of your purpose journey. So as she is saying, make the first step. I'm also hearing that purpose cannot be denied. So even though you fall off the road, as it were, get back up. Get back up, keep going, keep pressing, keep pressing. I'm also hearing you with this example, your husband, you're telling him, I'm just going to do a blog. And he's like, no, make it into a podcast. So I'm hearing that purpose stretches you, because you are just seeing blog. And he's like, no. It's going to go further and deeper than this. So purpose, once you start walking, once you make that, I love this. Once you make that step, God is going to connect you with people in your own family. In Miracle's case, it was her husband, whoever, to stretch you and say, no. Have you ever thought about doing this? No, but that is God saying that was just the start, You have to keep pushing. I like that. I like that. Yeah, keep going. And last thing I heard, purpose brings multiple streams. So out of that first step you made, Miracle, you have books. We are seeing the books behind her. We have so many streams coming out of a first step. I'm
But
just
she
going
made
to
that sound so
just
much better too. Like you said it.
I'm just going to let that float out there. Out of a first step.
You gonna make me cry the way you said it.
No, don't cry, don't cry, don't
You're
mess up the
gonna make
face.
me run around here and say, yo, wait a minute.
Go ahead, go ahead. So, if you're here
Yeah.
and you're listening to us today, we hope that you are being inspired to make that first step to purpose. Miracle, I'm going to put you in the back lounge and then we're going to get a word from our sponsors and we will come back to finish our discussion. Take a moment to catch your breath and we'll be right back. Oh my goodness. This is the program, the Pearls of Wisdom podcast. I have been having such an awesome conversation with my guest, Miracle Sims, and we are speaking about walking in your purpose. I just want to say hi to a few more people I see. Hi, Allison. Hi, Onika. Hi, Vanessa. Thanks for coming on. I hope that you are getting as much out of this conversation as I am getting. It is so awesome to find, to understand, and to start walking in your purpose. And as we just heard from Miracle, take the first step. We want to hear a word from our sponsors. Today's program is sponsored by Drink to Shrink by Leslie. Let's get a word from our sponsors. We want to thank our sponsor, Drink to Shrink with Leslie, for sponsoring our program today. You can find her on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. Reach out to her, find out about her product, Drink to Shrink with Leslie. Thank you for sponsoring our show today. We are having a time, as I said, we are in the middle of our Finish Strong series, and our topic today is walking in your purpose. My guest is Miracle Sims, and I want to bring her back in as we continue this conversation today. Hi, Miracle. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Miracle, you had me all fired up a moment ago. I hope I could calm down now, and finish this one. But it's all good. It's all good. I want to bounce off something you just said before the break. And you spoke about in your early days, in your 20s, as you were now feeling your way around and working out your salvation, you called it your cultivation experience, your cultivation period. I want to speak about it from a different angle. Now, when you think about cultivation, it takes a certain environment for cultivation to happen. So I want to ask you, as we consider purpose, how important is your environment as women, the environment that you find yourself in, the connections in that environment, in impacting you in pursuing your purpose? Is it important? Do we have to be aware? Do we have to have an understanding that I need to get myself in the right environment for cultivation of my purpose to take place? What do you think about that?
Ooh, look, you already know. You already you already know, Mr. Bell.
Tell
Yes,
us again.
ma'am. It is very important. Your environment is very important, right? Because again, like for example, during the time. Now, just so happens a lot of the time I was surrounded by a lot of married friends, right?
Yes.
Or I was going to a church that the majority of the people were married in, or whatever the case was, and so again, me desiring marriage, being around so many people that was, and I could see happy, couples and whatnot, I could kind of be a fly on the wall in some conversations. Shout out to one of my friends, because every now and then I would hang out with her and her husband, and they never made me feel like a third wheel. I met her at work and whatnot, and she's still a close friend even to this day. And so, it wasn't people that necessarily, talked down about marriage or hated it or anything like that. And so it encouraged and inspired me to continue to pray for my spouse, whoever he was, because that's what I was in. I was like, I don't know who he is. I don't see anybody around me.
Yes.
And stuff like that. Or I was thinking everybody could be. And I was like, who?
Is it you?
He might
Is it
be.
you?
He might be until proven not.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
And so it's very important. So yeah, staying around people that can encourage you and motivate you and inspire you, because even now sometimes I still kind of struggle in a way, because it's like, if you are around, people that aren't like that, right? If you're around people that's going to talk down about your goal, talk down about your dream, talk down about, for me, maybe it was marriage or whatever, but for you, it may be career or whatever it is. If people are going to be talking down about life, right? About God, about all the things you desire or all the things that you know to be true, or whatever the case is, then you're not going to really grow there. You're going to be, and it's so funny because I was talking about this on the podcast on the Juice this morning. I was talking about, how our words have power. If you're going to say, oh, I'm a failure, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm nothing, then you're going to continue to feel like you're that. And the more you say it and feel it, then that's what you are. Now, I'm not saying that's true, right? That's not the truth. The truth are you're made in God's image and you're beautifully and wonderfully made and all those different things. But if you're not surrounding yourself with that information, if you're not into the word and getting that and reading that for yourself and letting that marinate on your heart, soul, and mind, I say that a lot.
Yes.
Letting it marinate and whatnot, then you're gonna find yourself in a place that you don't want to be. And so I believe that our environment is important. What we take in is very important. What we say is very important as well. So I think it's a combination of all those things. I think that's why it's important for us to not only get into the word and Bible study and all those different things, but really incorporate God in every aspect of our lives, because that's what he wants. At the end of the day, he wants us to, have that relationship with him and talk to him about everything, even if it comes down to, my fitness journey. Like I've shared that on, that's another segment of GSL now. See, another thing that came from GSL. I'm working on fitness stuff lately, and I'm not gonna say I'm, perfect with it or nothing, but at least I got someone to hold me accountable. The gentleman that I've been talking to, and his business is centered around faith and fitness and whatnot. Again, who would have thought to put faith and fitness together, right? But you can, and you should, this God should be a part of that too. God should be a part of so I think the more, it's so funny. I'm doing so many plugs today. Shout out to another business owner I came across, business owner, that I came across. Her business is called Bold Faith Cosmetics. Who would have put faith with makeup? But she done it, and it's a way to again minister and whatnot. So again, God is included in all aspects. Again, even with me, with God, sex, and love, people take issue with thinking about God and sex. But guess what? He made it. So
that's right.
I think the more that we understand that, God is in control, he's in control of all things. He's the potter with the clay, he had it all planned out anyway. I think when we start to understand that, then we can start to see like, okay, hey, let me ask God, about whatever it is, and then go from there. So but if you're not, again, in the word, then all of this might be foreign to you. I might be saying something that you don't understand. And so again, environment.
Awesome. I'm going to put you on the spot with a difficult question.
Oh no.
But I think you can handle it. Do you think the church, quote unquote, as we know it, they've been doing a good job at creating the environment for women in particular? The show is about women and two women to find and explore their purpose, cultivate that purpose, and start walking in it. Do you think we've been doing a good job? Do we need to do some more? What are your thoughts about that?
It's funny. Well, because it depends. Because right now, right, I feel like the church is so separate that you kind of just you look at it like this type of church versus that type of church, especially when it comes to Christian faith. You're like, oh, we're this and that, we're separate, like, and it's like, so we got a lot of things that we got to work on with uniting, right? And understand that, hey, if you believe in Jesus, then hello, brother, hello, sister.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes,
And look at
yes.
it in that aspect. Don't stop separating each other by all these things that we can separate each other by. So that's one that I feel like is one of the things. But I guess I talk about that to say majority of the time you hear about, what women shouldn't do, right, in church and whatnot. And I'm not coming against that because Bible's clear about, there's certain positions women shouldn't hold and whatnot. I read it just like probably anybody else has read it. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's wrong. But what I'm going to say is, well, hey, why don't we, right, take some time to help women find out what we can do, right? Like, because obviously we are, I mean, well, you could see in the Bible that women were used a lot, to do
Yes.
different things and whatever purpose and, that he had them to do at those times. And so, you know, again, and I feel like, and I think this is why I do my show and probably why you do yours as well, that all of us are supposed to be out here spreading the gospel, right?
Yes,
So,
yes,
man or woman,
yes.
um, so again, I think if we get a better understanding of that, then we can say, then people can understand like, okay, well, how am I supposed to do this? Like I said, the
Yes.
lady with her cosmetics business, she's like, okay, I'm going to do this through lipstick,
Yes, yes,
I'm going to do it through my show and books and whatever, someone else, and we're women, right?
yes.
That are doing that with, finding those ways to do what? Spread the gospel, do what we're supposed to be doing, the Great Commission. So, I don't know if I would say that. I guess because when I go back to my first statement of things being so separate, when I think about maybe the churches that I grew up in or something like that, then I would say, well, I guess it seems as if, women may not understand their purpose, right? Women may not
Yes.
know how to, cultivate
Yes.
their purpose and whatnot. But I can say that I have seen ministries and churches that, the women's are, they're hosting life groups. They're with the kids and, they're active, and so
Yes.
I can't say that we're completely failing, right? Because I've seen churches and ministries that do. But I've also seen churches and ministries
That
that
could
I
do
guess,
a bit more.
yeah, like it's
Okay.
funny because I think back on another previous episode. I was talking to this minister. I can't remember his name right now. Um, oh, sorry, I guess I'm not supposed to be named up as much as I'm supposed to. But I was talking to him, Pastor Michael. That's his name, and he mentioned, hey, women, you were doing more than baking cookies, and because he mentioned that thing about that women were doing more in the Bible than just doing those things that people are, I guess, kind of making it seem like we should be doing now or whatever. And
Yes.
so, um, yeah, I mean, I think it's a deep question, and you're right. Probably is difficult to say in general if we
Of
are,
course. Yes.
if we're failing in that area. But I mean, we're failing in a few areas. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think that yeah, the more women don't understand that, hey, well, there are some things that I can do,
I
right, to
can
further
do.
the kids,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and stop focusing on the things that we're not supposed to do, or whatever. And that's how can I say it?
I
Okay,
like that perspective. I like that that's a balanced answer. Let's focus
yeah,
on what we can do. And remember we were supposed to go back to the word about everything. And so don't spend time and energy
hmm,
arguing and fighting about things that they say we can't do. Let's look to the word and let's do what we can do. What
exactly.
can I do? And I love that example from the pastor you interviewed. You were
Hmm.
doing more than just baking cookies in the Bible. So what
Hmm.
makes you think that in the modern day church that's all you're supposed to do? So I
Hmm.
like that answer. I'm
Yeah.
going to focus on the things that I can do. And I
Hmm.
asked that question because and you said it, you're right. Many women don't start their purpose journey and their purpose walk because they're so focused, and the narrative is you can't do this and you can't do that.
Hmm.
You can't. So we're changing the narrative today. Focus on what you can do. Miracle, we're almost out of time, but I don't want you to go without giving us some more techniques. You already started, and I have so much notes already. But the person who's listening to you and she's like, okay, I'm ready now. I've heard Miracle. Okay, what else can I do to tap into my purpose, to understand it, to get it clarified, and to start walking with it? I want to start that today. After I listen to you all, I'm going to take my journal and I'm going to start. But start doing what? So, could you give us some more tips? Leave us with some tips, practical
Well,
tips. Yes.
yeah, well, it's funny that you said journals because I mean, I don't know if you want to get this Bible study journal, but you can.
But we can, and you'll talk about that in a bit. I am sure we will.
You
We
get the
can
Bible study
use
journal,
that. Yes.
but I'm a bit list maker, right? And so that's what I've been
Yes.
doing a lot of this year. I've been making to-do lists, and so in
Okay.
the times where I feel like I didn't have, I'm like, okay, well, I got this app, so I'm going to make this list of what I want to do, and then times when I feel like I have some funds coming in or whatever it was, then I'm like, okay, now I got funds, now I can invest in this next thing. I can, what's on my list to do? Okay, I want to do this next, and whatnot. By doing that throughout the year, that's what has allowed me, allow y'all to see all this that is going on.
Yes.
It's because of that. And so I think, as the words say, hey, write the vision and make it plain. If you don't have nothing else, do you have a pen and paper? Use that to write
Okay.
down your idea,
Okay.
whatever it is on your mind or whatever it is, write it down. I mean, I use an app, but get old school, use your pen and paper.
Yes.
And everything like that. Shout out to my mom who got, just published her book, and she literally sent it from all the papers and things that she wrote. But still, you see what I'm saying? And I was commending her on that the other day because I just was like, hey mom, at the end of the day, you wrote this thing down, and this is why you now have your book, because you wrote it down, and it was something tangible, and it's not just in your head anymore. It's not just something where it's like, oh, well, I have this idea, and I'm probably talking to myself right now because I got plenty of ideas I need to finish.
Yes.
But still, I think actively at least making that first step to acknowledge that, okay, I have this idea, whatever it is, like, oh, God has put on my heart to start a women's ministry, or oh, God has put it on my heart to write a book, or oh, God has put on my heart to, start a blog or whatever.
Yes.
Write the idea down. That's the least you could do. Write it down. And then again, for me, I like I said, I like to focus on what do I have, and then how can I use that to get to the next thing. So again, over the years, like I say, when I refer back to GSL a lot, because over the years between when I first had the idea and now, I was getting little things done here and there when I could. So hey, I got the logo done at one point. So by the time I decided to kick things off in 2020, I had already made my Facebook page. It wasn't live for nobody else to see. I had already made it though, and
Yes.
stuff like that. And so when I decided to do it, I just was like, okay, and live, and that's where it all kicked off, to be like, okay, now everybody else knows. Now I got to hold myself accountable and do the thing I said I was going to do. I said I'm going to go
Yes.
give daily inspiration. So I need to wake up in the morning. I'll be intentional about what I said I was going to do, and do my daily inspiration. And that again stems to everything else, because I was challenging myself at the time to Bible study more, because I was like, I did my journey of reading the entire Bible. So that was another thing. I like, because I'm a reader and stuff,
Yes.
but that was one thing that it was hard to tackle, because every time I try to read, I would go to sleep.
Yes.
And so I was like, you need to read this Bible, girl. And so in my 20s, I did that challenge for myself, and tackled that. And so, but still, just because you read the Bible one time don't mean that you got it all together. I mean, you can read the same thing over and over again every day and get something different. So I was like, I'm gonna, be intentional about doing, at least dedicating daily Bible study, or, whatever. And so I did that at the time, again, just doing it for me and myself. And the funny thing was, I was keeping notes because I was sharing it on the podcast. Uh,
Yes.
so I was keeping notes on anything, cards, notebooks, whatever. And then so when I made the book, now I use the book, because now I can actually keep all my thoughts in one thing versus me trying to find my note card from back when I started or whatever. And so,
Yes.
but again, I mean, these are the practical things that I've done.
Sure.
Like I said, the
Yes.
list making, the
Mm-hmm.
doing what I can with what I have, the
Mm-hmm.
checking things
First
off when I
step.
get it done and
Yeah.
stuff. And I feel like that those are the
Good.
things that has got me to where I am now.
Okay.
So I hope
Awesome.
that I hope that
It
helps.
it it does, yes. So if you're listening and you're still taking notes, some practical steps to start your purpose journey, your purpose walk. One, write it down. Write down those ideas. The word says write the vision and make it plain. So you get those ideas down, and then when we have another session about goal setting and all of that, you can attend those sessions, so we know how to take those ideas now and to break them down into manageable, doable parts towards
Mm-hmm.
completion. But you have to get it down, move it from in the head to
Mm-hmm.
a clear space. Secondly, I love the second point actually. Look at your resources, because a lot of times you would hear women say, well, I can't fulfill purpose because I have no resources.
You have
and,
something.
and and I was once like that, but
Yeah.
you have something.
Mm-hmm.
Start with what you have, as Miracle is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Third, you make that first step and you start checking it off. So you're keeping accountable, you're keeping your timeline together, and all of that is goal setting and comes with planning and all of that. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I added a fifth point. She said all of that must be couched in the word, and
Mm-hmm.
let that be your daily diet, because that is
Mm-hmm.
what is going to sustain you as
Yeah.
you walk this purpose walk. So these are
Yeah.
awesome, practical, doable steps, and we thank you, Miracle.
Oh.
Miracle, final words. We're almost out of time. Tell us in your closing comments. Come on, you could do this purpose thing, ladies. Trinidad and Tobago, you're listening to me. What can you tell us as we end this morning?
Yes, I think for me, as you were reiterating all the other things, one thing that kind of stood out to me was just sometimes, again, when we have thoughts and we have ideas and things like that, sometimes we brush those things off. We don't feel like it's either, maybe we don't feel like it's possible, or maybe we feel like, oh, this is too big, or whatever it is. But guess what? Nothing's too big for God. He created everything we see, even you, so
Yeah.
what is it to God? And again, I had to check myself on this the other day. I have been thinking a lot about like finances and whatnot, and maybe I feel like I'm not necessarily bringing in a whole lot right now or something, for example. So but here's the thing: God knows that already, right? and
Yes.
I, and I've seen God work. Like, I've seen, somehow throughout the midst of this pandemic, especially this year, because at least last year we was getting stimulus and all that. We ain't been getting, I haven't been getting no stimulus or anything like that this year, but somehow our bills have been paid all year. We still eat around
That's
here,
right.
and everything. So I think, again, now maybe some people don't see that as a blessing, right? Some people don't see that as a miracle or some miraculous thing. But for me, I do, because I'm like, well,
Yes.
hey, I know how you pay bills. You need funds and jobs and whatnot, right? Which
Yes.
I feel like I haven't had a normal, I haven't since, I mean, again, since everything has happened. I have not worked like the way I used to work. I have not
Yes.
worked like that since 2019. If I want, maybe it was beginning of 2020 when everything happened.
Yes.
So again, so how are things being sustained? Is it because Miracle is out here? Like, it ain't because of me. I
No.
haven't been work. You know what I mean? And yeah, my husband has been able to work. But still, there's things that I take care of. Like, there's bills or whatever that I take care of, and my stuff is still getting taken care of. How is that? It's not because of I went out there and worked for my job
Yes.
or whatever. It's because,
Yes.
I think it's because of, honestly, for me, I feel like I saw the struggles that I was going through in 2019. I didn't understand it at the time. And I was like, Lord, you had me, relaunch my business. You had me go get a venue and all this stuff, and things didn't even work out with the venue. It was like a lot of up and down, and it was this whole thing. But would you not know it, once 2020 hit, because all of my business stuff was up to date, I was able to take part in all the small
Wow.
business assistance and whatnot.
God. Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Now,
Yes.
I don't know if y'all see that as a miracle, but I do.
It
You know,
is.
you know. So
Yes.
again, that's one of those things. Like if you have those thoughts or whatever, let us stop looking down on our dream, right? Let's stop looking down on our goal, our idea, because
Yes.
your idea is just as good as my idea,
Yes.
and just as good as anybody else's idea,
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think that's what I would say. Like, let us listen to God, because I feel like, again, like you said too, if it's
Mm.
constantly on your heart and mind, and you might want to, take some notice to that thing, because
Okay.
pay attention.
Pay
Like if it's
attention.
constantly coming back around, like I said, when podcast came back around in 2020, and I was like, I know that my husband told me in 2019 to do a podcast, and then the
Mm-hmm.
idea came back again in 2020. I'm like, let me see what it's gonna take to maybe do this podcast,
Yes. Yes.
And I'm just saying the moves that I made that have been in that way have blessed beyond
Yes.
those things that I did, And so,
Awesome.
listen to God, listen to what He's saying, acknowledge it, right? And I think one way to practically, like I said, to get started to acknowledging it is you heard it,
Mm-hmm.
write it down. That's one thing
Yes.
that you know. So then you won't forget it. I mean, that's plenty of ideas that I've had over the years that maybe I don't won't I don't remember because I didn't write it down.
Didn't write it down.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and who knows what would have came from those,
That's
So
right.
yeah, take notice of what God is saying to you. Acknowledge God. Understand that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, your ideas, your thoughts, if especially if it's something for God, right? 'Cause
Yes.
again, we not talking about
No,
impulses.
no, 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 no.
We're not talking about all that now. We're not
No,
talking about
no.
that. We're talking about the stuff that, you
Yes.
feel like, oh, well, I really want to get out there and I want to have a nonprofit to feed the hungry or something,
Yes.
stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the stuff we're talking about.
Whatever
um,
the dream is,
yeah,
don't
whatever the
limit
dream.
God. Don't limit. It could be whatever.
Yes.
As I like to use the example, in the Caribbean, we bake a lot. So, we have the breads and the cakes, and there are some persons who are excellent at it.
Mm,
If that's your dream, you want to bake because you're skilled, you're talented. When people taste your breads and your cakes and your pies, it's like,
yeah.
woo! If
And you can do
that's
those things
it,
to the
do
yeah,
those
you can do
things
those things to the glory
too.
and honor of God.
Yeah,
All things can be done to the glory and
that's
honor of
right.
God.
That's right.
So
Awesome. So we
yeah,
get
like
you.
acknowledge Him. I think that's the
Acknowledge
thing.
it.
We don't we struggle with that, but
Yeah.
we
But
gotta we gotta kind of work on that.
go
Start
back to
acknowledging
that.
Him.
Start
And,
acknowledging, and I like how
yeah.
you say pay attention. And that's where we will end today, Miracle. Pay attention to the thoughts, because that's why he said, I know the thoughts and plans that I have for you. So if you're not paying attention to the thoughts and the plans, then you'll just be, que
Miss it.
sera, sera. But we're leaving this program today determined to pay attention. Miracle, before you go, we see some books behind you. Tell us briefly in a minute, in our final minute, what are they and how can we get them, please?
Well, all of my books can be found on Amazon.com. I mean, there's some of them that are on like Barnes and Noble and Walmart.com as well, but Amazon has everything. Um, the two books you see here are my Bible study journal. It's called The Juice. It's centered around my daily inspiration aspect of GSL. Basically, it's something that will challenge you to Bible study for 30 days. Like it's a challenge
Okay.
for others to to take the time, be accountable, hold yourself accountable to Bible study for 30 days.
Okay.
What I hope it does is to encourage us to do it beyond that. Because I challenged myself. I didn't know at the time when I was challenging myself. I was like, oh, how often am I going to do this? Am I going to just do it? I've been doing this for over a year now. I mean, I take breaks. Don't get me wrong. I'll take a break on
Mm-hmm.
Sunday and stuff like that. And then I might have, like when I went on vacation, I took a break from it because I actually get up in the morning at 4 to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so, but from between when I started in April the 1st last year and now, I've done it at least, it has to be over 500 something times because that's how many that's how many times I have with the podcast of me sharing whatever I
Wow.
Bible study for that day. So yeah, challenge yourself to do it for 30 days. And like I said, I hope that it goes beyond the 30 days. And this
Awesome.
book right here, so that was my first publication. And then this is my most recent publication, which is
Okay.
again the cultivation period, a single Christian's journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's again my journey in my 20s, me praying about marriage and all the things that I learned along the way. my mindset, where I was, and again, I just kind of took a look at my life. So, but it's my life up until a certain point. But yeah, basically that's what this is. It is my first
Awesome.
actual book, because that is a journal, and then I have another journal and a coloring book that I published as well this year. See, I'm saying, look at God, y'all.
Screams, screams, yes.
Look at God. But yeah, this is the my first actual book,
Awesome.
and
Thank
so
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're all available on Amazon.
Amazon. So, ladies, go get those resources to help you on your purpose walk. We have excellent resources by Kingdom People. Miracle has added her bit to our arsenal, so we have no excuse. And we can't say, well, I don't know. Now you know. Go
Hmm.
get those resources. Miracle, I want to thank you again for joining us on the Pearls of Wisdom podcast. I had so much fun chatting with you today on this topic of purpose. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your
Thank you,
yes.
Mrs. Bell. Thank you so much. I'm honored. I'm so honored.
Awesome. So, Miracle, I'll put you back in the back lounge as I say goodbye to the ladies. Bye and God bless you. Well, there you have it, folks. This has been the Pearls of Wisdom podcast. I don't even know what to say. I'm tongue tied at this point. We have had an excellent conversation with Miracle Sims. Just as a reminder, go to Amazon, go look at her offerings, her journal, her 30-day challenge journal for Bible study. If you know you need help with staying in the Word, go get at it. And also her latest offering, her book about singleness. And you know that is right up our alley, ladies. Yes. So go get those resources. We want to thank her again for her time and pouring into us today. Just a few announcements before we end today's program. For the month of November, we are switching our airing time to the first and third Saturday. We usually air on the second and the fourth Saturday, but just for the month of November, we will be airing on the first and the third. So that's the 6th and the 20th of November. So mark those dates in your calendar so that you'll remember the switch. And of course, you'll see the ads go out and the notices go out. But just by way of knowing, we will be airing on the first and the third Saturday in November. And if you are interested in advertising on the Pearls of Wisdom podcast, give us a call at 1-868-313-5056 to get further information. If you're a small business, if you're a church and you're having an event and you want to advertise to a great audience, give us a call. Again, that number is 1-868-313-5056, and let's discuss how you can do just that. Well, again, this has been the program Pearls of Wisdom, and I am Giselle Alain Clement. Always a pleasure to spend my Saturday morning with you, giving into your space. Thank you, the audience, for joining me each time. So until next time, I want you to remember one thing. As we near the end of 2021, what are we going to do? Finish strong. Until next time we meet again in November, take care. Bye.